Greetings everybody, how you doing today? This article comes from moralmatters.org, a commentary website for searching souls, frustrated taxpayers, and individuals who are weary of corporate big government, scientism, false reality events, misinformation, propaganda mainstream media, and neo-Nazi politicians. This is a year old, but still relevant. Government false realities, false flags, hoaxes, and psyops. Wise up. History is replete with government-contrived propaganda and violence events. Government-contrived, pre-planned propaganda and violence events are nothing new. Remember history's past, pagan Nero, and how his propaganda blamed Rome's raging and destructive fire upon Christians. Government-contrived propaganda and violence events, or call them false flags or hoaxes, are devised by government authorities to promote stifling fear among the public. These events are sponsored, probably by the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Soroses, and then promoted for specific propaganda purposes to alter and manipulate public opinion. How do you feel about being manipulated? I don't like my opinions being manipulated. Okay? They're my opinions. So I protect myself. I don't listen to their garbage. It's always easier for corrupt government to frame crooked and unjust laws when the populace has been propaganda pummeled into submission. The purpose of the contrived events, or at least their contrived outcome propaganda spin in the United States, is to erode American freedoms, especially free speech, First Amendment rights, and also personal gun ownership, Second Amendment rights. Control is what is ultimately behind government-contrived propaganda and violence events. Evil people in positions of political authority possess an insatiable desire to manipulate the masses. I don't know about you, but I like nobody to manipulate me. And I can spot a manipulator a mile away. Okay, that unholy task is much easier when the people's natural right to defend themselves is stripped from them. The very reality that the government-contrived propaganda/violence events are frequently enacted illustrates that corrupt political leaders do, indeed, fear the masses and view the public as the opposition. Else, why would they hatch these propaganda plots? Hence their incessant felt need to dupe and deceive. Honesty and virtue is not within their sphere of character. Their repeated use of false flag hoaxes is in keeping with the scriptural divine revelation which describes the end times. Alright, two major realities are being played out with government-contrived propaganda and violence events, aka false realities, false flags, psyops, and hoaxes. Those arrogant and selfish individuals who are few in numbers wickedly devise, contrive, pre-plan the false events. In communication language, they are the senders. The divine revelation of Scripture accurately describes this malevolent sender sort. But evil men and impostors will grow worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. Timothy 3:13. Okay. Then there are the masses who are on the receiving end of the contrived, intended to deceive events. They are the foolish and the gullible receivers. The divine revelation of Scripture describes those who are sinfully foolish and gullible. All things are full of labor. Man cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. Hell and destruction are never full, so the eyes of man are never satisfied. And they will turn their ears away from the truth and be turned aside to fables. Fables are false. The simple believes every word, but the prudent considers well his steps. Okay. One of the most successful arts of the adversary of souls has been to mingle fable with truth. And when he cannot overthrow the truth by direct opposition, to neutralize it by mingling with it much that is false and frivolous. Albert Barnes. A man can't ride your back unless it's bent. Martin Luther King. Bringing an end to government-contrived propaganda and violence ends. Government-contrived propaganda and violence ends will never cease, unless the public willfully chooses not to be the passive punching bags of their present culture. It is imperative for the public to refuse its expected role, or being active, receiving participants of never-ending propaganda scams. And I know there's a lot of scams going on YouTube. You know who you are. All of you. Not to mention YouTube's, but websites, lots of scams all over the internet. Propaganda scams. Let's see. Okay. Oh, by the way, I'm going to go back up to this one. I like this saying by George Carlin. I have certain rules I live by. My first rule: I don't believe anything the government tells me. Nothing. Zero. Americans need to change their perspective on big government to a realistic paradigm. Unfortunately for most Americans, the false paradigm as it relates to the flow of information is government dispenses, media regurgitates, and Americans swallow. Okay. Oops. Here we go. The wise soul will take note that the wicked always gravitate to positions of influence and power to exert their unholy influence upon the masses. A lesson page from World War II Nazi history illustrates how Adolf Hitler fashioned unjust laws to promulgate his crimes against peace and crimes against humanity. Third Reich. Shall the throne of antiquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law? People are their own worst enemies. They allow their sensory perceptions to be willing participants of government-contrived propaganda and violence events, thereby bringing upon themselves repeated government-controlled molestation. What are some practical solutions? Well, that must have been a rhetorical question, because I scrolled down and I couldn't find the answer. So, okay. So, what are some practical solutions? Maybe you guys know. Put my camera back up. down here below. I'll leave the link below so you can access these. Also related. Ooh. NASA lies. Beware of big government NASA's propaganda agency. Pick source. NASA lies. The Nibiru sunset. That's all I'm going to say about Nibiru. It's a government-contrived propaganda to keep people in fear. Okay. Let's see. Perhaps the most extensive of criminal government / media propaganda events. Folks, okay. Well, let's go down here. A thinking person will question what he hears, examine what he sees, and evaluate what others would have him believe. When did big government and its mainstream media tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And I'm going to end it there. Alright. Seems kind of like they didn't give me an explanation on what we can, some solutions, but you guys have the idea, okay? That they are doing all these hoaxes to control the masses, keep us in fear, get us into submission, alright? So, you know, take away our rights. They want to take away our rights, our God-given rights, by the way, our birth rights. So, what are you going to do about it? I know what I'm doing about it. I'm not watching mainstream media. And I'm doing my own research so I can spot these hoaxes, scams, and psyops. That's what I'm doing. So everybody needs to do something to protect themselves from government-contrived propaganda and violent events. Alright. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good day.